There is so much chatter about the forecast right now and what can we expect as far as the weather is concerned. For today, pretty decent conditions, 59, 60 degrees, so we might be a couple of degrees, a few degrees above normal there, but pretty nice day if you ask me. It'll be mostly sunny out there, and overnight tonight it will be chilly, 38, 39 degrees, but not too terribly cold, not freezing or anything like that. That's on the way, though. It definitely is on the way. Medium high for your allergens. We've been hanging out around the high range for a while now, so this is definitely an improvement, I would say. It's still mountain cedar. You're probably still going to feel it, but it's at least taking a little bit of a break here, so we're not quite in the higher ranges that we've been stuck in. So just hey, enjoy what benefit we can get out of that. So here's the big picture. Here's what I wanted to get to. I rushed through that for a reason. Here's where things stand today. We will have this front making its way through the central part of the country here. That will pull in later on this afternoon, later on this evening. And it does look like, actually, it looks like it, I think the timing actually is pushing more kind of overnight here, maybe early tomorrow morning. But it will come in and it will change temperatures maybe a degree or two. Not much from this front. It's looking kind of puny out there. So not much change from this front. The bigger system is the one we are watching off the west coast. That's the one that will pull in, bring temperatures way down. And I'm talking daytime highs in the 40s, overnights in the upper 20s. So if people are talking about a big cold snap, it's not going to be doomsday or anything, but it will be quite a bit cooler than it is today. Definitely quite a bit cooler than it was last week. So we will be looking at that moving our way. That will come in late Sunday. Could be some showers and thunderstorms. The chance of rain I have with that looks like it's going to stay mostly east of us. I know I said that ahead of last Saturday, though, so I will be keeping an eye on the forecast to see if that backs westward a little bit. There is a chance of, a low chance, but a chance still of severe weather for southeast Texas over into Louisiana, areas that really don't need any more of that. But again, I will keep an eye on that just in case that starts to back westward and we need to be more concerned about more rain, higher storm chances for that day. Because again, I know that was our outlook for last Saturday, and we got quite a bit of heavy rain out of that deal. So we do have to kind of keep an eye on that. Now, after that strong system moves through, we will have a disturbance, a system that will make its way into the south, desert southwest, and pull close to Texas, bring some moisture in from the Pacific Ocean. And when you have the really cold temperatures in place, you have that moisture in place, that could mean some frozen precipitation. We've been talking about this. All of social media has been talking about this for a while now. For one, I think people are getting the blast of cold air mixed up with that. And it's two elements. First, we're going to have the strong front that moves in Sunday night into Monday morning. And then this system won't actually be here till Wednesday, Thursday, the 8th and 9th of January. So it's actually two different pieces, but really that's usually how you have to make it happen in north central Texas. Get the cold air in here first, then bring in a separate supply of moisture. And that, a lot of times, is how you can make that frozen precipitation. But we've been talking about the models and the different variables and things. So I want to show you where things stand this morning. This is the GFS model. This is the one that you've seen all over social media that has been giving us a pretty generous coverage of rain, snow, mixed stuff. You know the different colors. The green, of course, is the rain. The pink is the mix, and the blue is the snow. So here's where things line up this morning. Now, I will say this is 6 a.m. January 9th. One of the things that the GFS model has not been very consistent with is how much of this, how long does this last? Is it across both days? Is it just one quick swoop? We've had some where it's just wave after wave, and then other models have said, here you go, you get maybe a few hours of snow and then you're done. That's been one of the inconsistencies. Another inconsistency has been when it comes through and how far north the moisture is. The vast majority of these runs, in fact, most models, are pretty consistent that most of the moisture stays south of us. The rain, the mix, that kind of thing stays south of us. So really, there are three questions I would say in my mind. One is how far north does the majority of the moisture go? Two, what does it look like? I mean, does it look like this hangs around for multiple days and we have maybe a couple of days of moisture ahead of that? Or does it look like it's just, hey, one quick thing and we're done? The third question I have in my mind, and I haven't seen a lot of conversation about this, is will it be dry enough to keep this from falling? Or I guess the flip side of that question is, will we get enough moisture to overcome the very dry dew points to make it to the ground? Because as I show you, this is the dew points on that same model, that same time, bone dry here at the surface. So even if we have moisture up in the upper levels, it's anybody's guess of if that moisture, if that precipitation will actually reach the ground. We've seen plenty of times where I can tell you that there's plenty of moisture at the upper levels and there's plenty of snow happening above our heads. But whether or not it's actually enough to overcome the dry air is another big question. Sometimes that's a question you don't really know until the day before or when it's happening. But we've had plenty of opportunities for this dry, rocky mountain air to cut off any kind of precipitation we think we might get. So there's so many different questions at play. There's so many different possibilities here. That's why meteorologists have been very iffy about the forecast, despite the fact that the Climate Prediction Center has put out this big slight risk map of heavy snowfall covering our area. At this point, I would say heavy snowfall is very, very unlikely. Snowfall at all is questionable. So there's different agencies giving different thoughts, and sometimes that muddies the waters a little bit. But overall, I'm not convinced yet. So today, 59 degrees, light south winds. Tomorrow, east wind behind that front, maybe a degree or two cooler. Not much of a cold front there. Saturday, we're warming up a little bit. Well, actually, not till Sunday. Saturday looks about the same as today, maybe a degree cooler. But what I wanted to say is we will have more clouds moving in. You see that southeast wind picking up. That will be bringing in more moisture. So our overnights will be warming up. Not quite the daytime, but overnights we won't be quite as cool. And then you can see the big change here. Sunday, that cold front comes in. It's starting to trend earlier again. So it may be one of these. You see this is italicized. It may be one of those days where we reach our warmest temperature before we usually get to peak heating. And then the front comes through and starts cooling us down. Breezy winds behind it. And then, yeah, Sunday night, we're back in the 20s, down in the 20s for your temperatures, and then we're in the 40s from there. Wednesday, that will be if we get enough moisture in here to make it happen. Wednesday will probably be the first day we have a chance of some kind of precipitation. I've noticed some of the Dallas channels are kind of playing footsie a little bit with this. Some say, hey, we're just not going to worry about it yet. We'll figure it out when we get closer. Some they have a 20% chance here, but they're not putting an icon. So they don't have to say, oh, there's a 20% chance of wintry mix or snow. They haven't put rain on there yet, but there's no moisture icon. It's just a chance of precipitation. So different folks have different ways of doing it. I'm just not putting it in the forecast yet. So as we get closer, we will continue to watch those models and see what happens there. European model this morning still saying, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see anything anywhere. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And it could very likely be that the European model is the outlier while the rest are going, hey, we see this. What is wrong with you? We'll have to wait and see what the models do as they haggle. But for right now, pretty decent. As we go forward, Sunday the big front arrives, chance of showers and thunderstorms. I'll keep an eye on that in case the timing and location on that changes. But pretty cold after that. And middle of next week, we'll keep an eye on that forecast for you and bring any updates we have on the possibility of some kind of wintry precipitation towards the middle to late of next week.